You are listening to Vitruvian Man with Jesse and Josh.
Welcome back to Vitruvian Man, and as usual, I'm joined by Josh.
My dude.
Man, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
Pretty good. We lost Val Kilmer this week.
Yeah.
Just died a couple days ago. Did you have a favorite Val Kilmer movie or performance? Or I'm kind of springing this question on you. We didn't talk about this at all. Well, because I loved Heat is my favorite Val Kilmer movie.
And I don't know if I've seen that actually.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's really good.
But my favorite, and I remember seeing this in the theater, was Top Secret.
Dude. I mean, every bit as good as Airplane.
Yeah.
But a lot of people that have seen Airplane don't even know about Top Secret.
Right. That was, the cow thing. It was so fucking ridiculous.
Joe Dante on his podcast, which is great if you ever listen to it, said, yeah, but there's no plot. Bro, I don't give a fuck.
Neither did Airplane, really.
No, and it's 90 minutes of continuous laughter.
Or what was the cop one, the cop show?
Police Squad, which became Naked Gun, which O.J. Simpson's the star of.
Oh,
that's always wild to see O.J. being wacky.
Childhood hero.
He was a wacky. That's right. O.J. Simpson. You loved O.J. Simpson.
Fucking guy.
Yeah, and you still love him for some reason. No, okay. So poor Val Kilmer. He was great in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah.
Just kind of a noir thing. I mean, he's great, and everyone knows Tombstone. He's one of those guys, like in Heat, like he's so pretty that I think heterosexual man can understand. Okay, so that's a pretty man.
So that's
like
how you're gay.
That's a really good looking man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like so.
Yeah, I mean, shit is Iceman in the Top Gun. I mean,
yep, iconic.
Yeah.
He's great in Spartan, which is a David Mamet movie.
I don't think I saw that either.
It's good. Recommend it. He's pretty much great in a lot of things. I mean, The Doors is pretty awful. Didn't really care for that movie, but that's not because of Bill.
You know, what was funny is like because I remember watching that movie, and I remember in the beginning I was like, he's really not matching Morrison here. There's some kind of disconnect. But as he got old and bloated, he fucking nailed it.
Oh, okay. You thought the performance got more realistic, or
it got way better. Yeah, I thought that he was more the old dying Morrison than he was the young swinger Morrison.
Yeah, and with the Queen biopic, some people ask the question, what is a performance and then what is mimicry? Because people were accusing the guy who played Freddie Mercury in the Queen movie of mimicry more than a actor. I like him as an actor, so I didn't have beef with him.
Yeah, that seems like split. That seems like people want to have a bitch about it.
People will incessantly complain about everything.
Yeah.
Dana Gould was talking about The Substance the other day, which we loved.
Yeah.
And he was saying at the end, he's all right, I get it. It's like, dude, this movie is incredible. And like, I'm not, if you want to say the end was over the top, well, it was supposed to be.
It was intended to be that way.
And, it's a tribute to all those old, weird body horror movies.
Yeah.
David Cronenberg and stuff like that. And
definitely.
Yeah, it was excessive and it was meant to be, and I loved it.
I mean, her comment was, we need more blood. Like
the director?
Yeah, they were running out of blood.
Yeah, I love it.
So fucking awesome.
I love it. Okay, so that was the fun part of our podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say, the people we are about to speak about are not fun.
Everyone should just tune out now.
These motherfuckers.
Well, the bad news is we're going to be talking about Simone and Malcolm Collins. The good news is they're ridiculous idiots.
They are so fucking ridiculous.
It's funny. We're not reporters. Sometimes I think, should I withhold my comments to the end? Fuck that.
That is absolutely not our
Fuck these
point.
motherfuckers. Yeah. They're stupid. I hate them. They're not serious people. They're pseudo-intellectuals for sure. They are.
Fucking A. Yeah, fucking A.
You showed me the picture last week, and you're like, look who you're doing next week. And I'm like, oh my God, is this brother and sister? And you're like, no, they're married. Okay. So... Simone Haruko Collins.
Haruko.
I'm sorry.
Is she
Haruko.
Is she part Japanese?
That does not. I could not find any
thing
about her parents or her background. So she was born in 1987, and Malcolm was born in 1986. They're a married couple known for their views and advocacy related to pronatalism, a stance encouraging higher birth rates and expressing concerns about demographic decline and its implications. Now, real quick, I watched a lot of videos of them being interviewed. And they're able to come across as semi-normal. Unlike some of these hateful KKK people who just can't even hide it. They hide it pretty well.
No, they are slick Nazis.
They are slick Nazis, and they're 100% advocating things that are race based.
They're eugenicists.
They are.
Yeah.
Yes. They real quick about their career.
Yeah.
They worked in venture capital and technology sectors. Simone previously served as managing director for Dialogue, which is your guy Peter Thiel's conference. Have you heard about Dialogue?
I have heard about it. I don't know a whole lot about it.
You can find almost nothing on the internet. I found a guy, it might have been on Reddit, he posted an invitation he got to Dialogue. It sounds to me a lot like, what's the thing they do in Armstrong Woods?
Oh,
with all the
Bohemian?
rich people? Yeah. So it's a meeting of minds, and it's apparently $17,000 to register for this event. The one major name I noticed was like Gray Davis, former governor of California.
The worst fucking governor of California. That guy was.
Really?
Oh, he was. I remember because he was in, and Schwarzenegger got fucking bent and ran and won because of him. He beat Gray Davis, who was the incumbent.
Okay,
which and I was at first. I was like, oh, here we fucking go.
Movie star
Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger.
Idiot's going to be our.
But he ended up being far more liberal and productive than Gray Davis. Gray Davis was a fucking corrupt piece of shit.
I think the more we learn about Schwarzenegger, the more I like him.
The more I like him, yeah.
Someone made fun of him the other day because he doesn't want to talk about his Nazi father. Well, it's like, would you be proud to talk about your Nazi father? I wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't shame him for that. That's
that. He's embarrassed by it, which is fucking great.
Yeah, and honestly, Schwarzenegger talked openly about his father and how hateful and mean and angry he was.
Yeah,
and I think it was really kind of vulnerable for Schwarzenegger to share those details about his dad.
So yeah.
But anyway, Malcolm previously worked as a venture capitalist at the Ventures in South Korea, and the Collinsons are currently managing directors of the corporate wholesale travel agency TravelMax. So they've written books.
TravelMax.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It's like everybody throws like Max or Ultra or fucking. What?
And I just think of how old you'd have to be to use a travel agent. I mean, you've traveled actually pretty successfully around the world. I don't think you use a travel agent.
We have in the past.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was for the olds. I didn't know it was people our age who were doing it too.
This was a while ago before, there was a lot of internet stuff.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said about like,
a package.
This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
This is when I want to leave. This is when I want to come back. Here's where I want to go. And these are the kind of hotels I want to stay.
Absolutely.
Book it. And then they fucking do. And
absolutely.
And it's like they get better pricing, or they used to.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough anymore. But
they know the good hotels.
Yeah,
and they probably know the safe kind of crime-free parts of Italy, for example.
Yeah, sure.
So
no, so but now it's definitely olds.
Yeah, but the Collins have written some books. The Pragmatist's Guide to. They've got sexuality. They've got parenting. They've got like 5 books. Having done enough research about these people, I was not willing to read any of those books.
Yeah.
Because as you'll discover, these are pseudo intellectuals that base some of their ideas. They are educated people. I'll talk about where they got their degrees and stuff. But
sure.
That doesn't mean that the more you learn about them, the more like, fuck those books. Like they have these insane ideas. Why would I read this book?
It sounds like they're probably self-published. I mean, it sounds like everything they do is basically a grift.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I've gotten from what they do.
If you were to kind of typify what the Collins' belief is, it's the fear that low fertility rates, especially among people they view as high achieving, could lead to a decline in innovation and societal progress, as well as the extinction of cultures, economic breakdown, and the collapse of civilization. Now, let's break all of that down. One of the videos I watched, they're like, yeah, we have these conferences and we get conservative Jews and we get Catholics and we get Christians. And it's like naming other groups that are xenophobic does not help your cause. That you found Jews that think Jews should only, let's say, procreate with other Jews is not a plus for me advocating anything that you're advocating.
Right.
You just found other xenophobes.
Yeah.
And I think it's hilarious. These people claim to be not religious. They claim to be atheists. We'll talk about this a little later.
Yeah.
They claim to be atheists and simultaneously said things like the Bible is divine inspiration or divinely inspired. If you're an atheist, what's that divine inspiration?
What is the divine as an atheist?
I don't think you know what an atheist is. Yeah.
The fucking Mandy Patinkin. I do not think this word means what you think it means.
Oh, is that's what movie is that?
Princess Bride.
There we go. Princess Bride, great movie. In response, I've done this quote before, but I had to read it again because it's very germane to what the Collinsons are talking about. The Collinsons are saying that we're smart and great, and so we should have a lot of babies.
Yeah.
I don't think they're great. I don't think they're smart.
No.
And to that point, Stephen Jay Gould, who's an evolutionary biologist, said this: I'm somehow less interested in the weight and convolutions of Einstein's brain than in the near certainty that people of equal talent have lived and died in cotton fields and sweatshops.
Yeah, right. I remember you saying that.
Yeah, and I had to bring it back because, the Collinsons are, let's say, concrete in their belief that people like them should be having more babies. White, smart people.
You're right.
Because that's going to fuel the economy, fuel commerce. So that's a nice way of saying brown people aren't as smart as we are.
Right. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Thiel, Sachs, Andreessen, Musk, they're all funding these fuckers.
All pronatalists.
Yeah.
Yes. Musk being the excellent physical and intelligent specimen that he is, there's got to be more of me, bro.
Cracked out junkie.
If you want the ultimate, there are people who would say just having one child is an act of hubris. We have one child, and I can tell you, the work it took to raise that one child, it is. If you're doing it right, it's the most selfless thing you'll ever do. It is. It's not. You are really responsible for someone else's life.
Elon's alienated pretty much every child he's had, except for like the 1-year-old, right?
Give the 1-year-old a little time.
Yeah, give him 5 years.
Yeah. By the way, the Collinsons have scoffed at the idea that they're eugenicists and have strongly disavowed any form of racism. We'll talk about that later as well, too. They are. They've had their babies in vitro. So listen to this. This is what.
Wait, all of them?
Yeah. Yes. I think so. So
is this because of a physical problem?
Yes. Simone. Called her Susan. I'm sorry. Simone Collins, she was. I'm sorry if it was bulimic. She had an eating disorder. I didn't say if it was bulimia or anorexia.
Okay.
But it messed up her fertility. Yikes. I guess. So I think they have 4 children now, and they want to have at least 7.
His mother.
Yeah, yeah. So you see these goons.
This is like
and it's just like you think you're superior humans.
This is like a rich version of Idiocracy.
It really is.
Yeah, these absolutely. Are the fucking dumbest motherfuckers breeding.
Yeah,
like they're going out of style.
Yeah. Simone has run for office. She ran in the 2024 Pennsylvania House of Representatives election. Simone ran as a Republican for the 150th district, losing by about 17.5%. So she lost, but she did run. I don't think he's run for office for anything.
I don't think so. I remember reading about her, and they were interviewing her as she was running, and she didn't bother really canvassing or anything like that. Right. She just kind of put her name out there and hoped everybody would vote for her.
We don't need to go on about this, but they don't support transgender health care for youth, but express acceptance for people whom Simone described as legit trans, as opposed to those who fall within the trans cult.
Can they define that?
Okay. I've rattled out this number 4. I think it's germane here. 1 in 100,000 children is born with ambiguous genitalia. Now that's a lot. That's millions of people. That's millions of people who have ambiguous sex organs.
So I just want to kind of be kind of clear on this whole subject, because I feel like the focus on external genitalia when you're talking about trans is it's missing the point.
Oh, I hear you. Okay. Because obviously there's hormonal things that are going on too.
Right. I mean, if it comes down to the gametes, right? If you got sperm or if you got eggs, that's kind of, and the external jobbers doesn't really matter. But
sure, absolutely. I guess what I'm saying is, how do you define legit trans?
That's my
what
question.
They would say is look at the organs.
Right. So,
but that's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
Because if there's a woman who's identified as female, born with female genitalia, but her whole life has felt male and, has just literally, I mean, it's like, how do you could never quantify what legit trans is. So that's impossible.
Yeah. It's a really like anybody who says that kind of legit trans is kind of, what you're getting into.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, Malcolm is the great-grandson of Carr Collins Sr., the founder of Fidelity Union Life Insurance Company. Some of this is boring. I won't read all this stuff here about their personal lives.
Fucking trust funder.
Yes, absolutely. But I did notice that, and I couldn't find any information about this, but I did notice that Simone was born from a polyamorous marriage. Now, I wish I could have found...
Oh, man, that's where you want the dirt there.
Don't, yeah, but nothing.
I'm sure they
literally scraped the internet, and there is nothing
I'm sure it got
her.
scrubbed, dude.
Yeah. She was born in Japan as a self-described mistake baby.
So so that makes sense. That
Only
tracks.
child to a failed polyamorous marriage. So, by the way, many marriages fail. I don't know what that has to do with polyamorous. I mean, there are Christian conservatives who would say, well, of course it fails. It's polyamorous. The divorce rate is 50%, and that includes Catholics and Christians.
In fact, I think it's higher amongst
of course.
the religious types.
Of course it is, yeah. Now, they claim they're atheists, as we mentioned, but they do promulgate the theory of techno-Puritanism, which I couldn't find much information on either. They base this on the book by The Martyrdom of Man by William Winwood Reed. So the Bible and Reed's book are their major influences. They are atheists. Don't forget that they're atheists.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, okay. They consider these books divinely inspired scripture. Reed was not an atheist, as some of his critics maintain, but he actually was a social Darwinist, which is obviously leads to the Collinses, right? They're
sure.
basically saying the survival of the fittest, and the fittest should make more babies.
Yeah.
Now, have you read their children's names? This is a little nugget that I thought I had to read to you.
Oh, God.
Their 4-year-old son is named Octavian George.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, God. Okay.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
I got more.
Keep going. Yeah.
Their 2-year-old, Torsten Savage.
God, I just want to kick him in the dick.
The kid or the parents?
The parents, obviously.
All right.
Well, the kid, whatever. Fuck him.
Their 16-month-old is Titan Invictus. And their 4th child, who's a girl, is Industry Americus Collins. Now, they had read...
God damn it.
They had refused to give their daughters traditionally feminine names because they believe social research shows that women with feminine names are taken less seriously. And so this is hilarious to me because women are still fighting an uphill battle for respect in the workplace, right? They just are.
Yeah, sure.
What normal, sane person would treat a woman differently because of her name? Nobody, right? I mean, that's just not a thing.
I mean, I can see it kind of like from a blind, you're reading the name on
a bias would not be there if you saw the name.
Right. If you're hiring somebody, right. Or if you're,
sure.
Some sort of acceptance of some sort when it's all on paper.
But if you're a misogynist, if you meet the woman, you go, oh, well, I liked your name, but you're a woman, so fuck you.
Bye.
I mean, because uterus, right? Like
straight up.
Whatever. Now is where it gets a little juicy. The Collinses also employ corporal punishment in disciplining their children.
Oh, yeah.
Which is based on Simone's personal observation of lions and tigers during a safari trip.
Jesus Christ. Dude, they are so fucking stupid.
Okay. I need to talk about that for about 3 hours.
Yeah, right.
You are not a scientist or a biologist. You observed lions and tigers and decided that corporal punishment was appropriate for children.
That's such bullshit, dude. That is like, oh my God. They just fucking lie about everything.
Well, or they're stupid. I mean, like, so
both.
The exhaustive research on corporal punishment proves that not only does it not help the children or the parents, that it's traumatic to the children and it can cause PTSD. It is not an effective parenting method. It is absolutely fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
And to that point, Malcolm Collins slapped his 2-year-old toddler in front of a reporter during an interview.
That I remember reading that.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, and not like a, it was.
The reporter went back and heard it and listened to the recording and could hear the slap. I want you to picture how big a toddler is. And I want you to picture that fucking goon hitting his child. And if you saw that on the street, you'd knock his fucking teeth out.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Slapping a toddler. That is insane. Now, he says that the child is good. He's a good kid, but he's got this streak of rebelliousness in him. What did he slap him for? The kid stumbled into a table and almost knocked it over.
That was it?
Yes. Now, this is what he did in front of a reporter in a public place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
what's going on?
Yeah. It's not going to get better at home.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's fucking insane.
Has CPS ever been called on him for anything?
I don't think so. I couldn't find anything like that.
Yeah.
So this is okay. I don't know if you know Hope Not Hate. It's a nonprofit.
Yeah.
They published its own deep dive into pronatalism and the Collinses, for which the group employed an undercover reporter to get a sense of how the couple really feels. They do get some goods on Malcolm and Simone, confessing when we talk to reporters, we're very, pronatalism isn't just for the elites, but in truth, we do target the elites.
Yeah, fucking.
They mean elite white people, not elites.
Absolutely.
Yes. Hope Not Hate's report goes much further, noting that Collins' eager fraternization with open British racists and eugenicists, their willingness to play footsie with proponents of the anti-Semitic Great Replacement theory, because that's useful to their cause, and their obsession with the pseudoscience of IQ.
Who are they in touch with? Who's the British guy? Is it
that? I couldn't find that.
Okay.
I did a deep dive on IQ because I think we know that, for example, testing in schools is flawed. I'm not sure I understood how flawed IQ testing is. It is flawed.
It's a wing and a prayer. I mean, when were the modern IQ tests designed?
So that I didn't figure out, but I read a really exhaustive article by Nassim Nicholas Taleb in Medium.com, and he just absolutely eviscerates IQ tests.
Yeah.
I'm just going to read you just a brief little bit about it because there's a lot of wonky science stuff in here I had to delete because it wouldn't necessarily be relatable to you and me.
Yeah, sure.
A couple of dummies like us, but this is his summation of IQ tests. IQ is a stale test meant to measure mental capacity, but in fact mostly measures learning difficulties, as well as to a lesser extent one form of intelligence. How good someone is at taking some type of exam designed by unsophisticated nerds. IQ tests end up selecting for exam takers, paper shufflers, obedient IYIs, which is intellectuals yet idiots. So clearly these Collinses are IYIs. Intellectuals yet idiots.
Sure. So is that... Oh man, is that an actual thing? Because that's fucking dope.
Apparently it is. He used it as an acronym. The concept is poorly thought out mathematically by the field, and it commits severe flaw in correlation under fat tails and asymmetries, fails to properly deal with the dimensionality, and treats the mind as an instrument, not a complex system, and is promoted by racists and eugenicists. So that's a summation of a very long article that I read.
Yeah.
But it is so fatally flawed that, I think people used to say that George W. Bush, I don't know, had an 120 IQ or something like that. And we were talking about how Bush went to Yale. If George Bush has 120 IQ, I think that devalues IQ tests.
I don't think that's true.
I don't think it's true either. But what I mean is, I think much like, racists used to use skulls.
Phrenology.
Phrenology basically is a way for measuring intelligence. That's fucking bullshit. And the way that BMI is largely bullshit at this point, too.
Yeah.
The BMI was developed 100 years ago when literally people were smaller and weighed less and they were tinier.
Yeah.
100 years ago, the human race was smaller. But anyway, much like that, the IQ test appears to be just basically rigged. And he went on and on about, like, for example, let's say use an IQ as a means for hiring, right? I want this level of IQ. I mean, it's measuring such a narrow part of your intelligence that it's like, how is this even useful?
Police stations or police forces,
yes,
will not hire people with too high of an IQ.
You told me that, and I know some people don't like the term "all cops are bastards." I happen to know a couple nice cops, but I mean, that says what you need to know about the police forces.
Yeah.
We don't want people that are too intelligent. Why?
They ask questions.
They ask questions.
Yeah.
Why am I arresting this black person when he literally didn't do anything?
Right.
The only thing he did was say, why am I being arrested? And now we're slapping cuffs on him, or any number of horrible things, right? You start asking too many questions, that's a measure of intelligence.
Did you watch Good Times when you were young?
Oh, hell yes.
So do you remember the episode where they gave, I think it wasn't JJ.
Yeah.
It was his brother. They gave him an IQ test, and he came back just horrible.
Low. It came back low.
Came back super low,
yeah.
and they fucking went on a tear about how it was racist, and how about you fucking take a black IQ test? And so it was interesting. Like, they totally read at the riot act. I thought that stuck with me since I was a kid.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that at all. Yeah, I mean, the thing about tests and testing, I work at a college, so this is interesting to me on that level too, professionally. Is, the thing about culture and different pocket cultures is you have to be very careful about how you relate to people and their background and their experience. And because someone's background and even dialect is different than yours, doesn't mean they're less intelligent than you are.
Oh, absolutely not.
I've heard actually liberal comedians, on podcasts, when a black comedian says, you know what I'm saying? Or he'll say a colloquialism. And the liberal comedian will go say, I do in fact know what you're saying. And it's like, you're kind of mocking what he said.
Yeah, are you making a point?
And that's just a colloquialism. Know what I'm saying, let's call it slang. It's not to devalue your intelligence. It's a colloquialism.
Right.
So that's the thing about these tests is like, they're so specific to, white educated people.
It's super narrow in its scope and range. Yeah, I totally get that.
Well, and speaking as someone with learning disabilities, you give me the wrong. I struggled. I was telling you before, I struggled with math in college that my son bested in 7th grade. So I was 22 years old trying to crank through algebra that at 11 he conquered. He's doing pre-calculus now and all these other kinds of things. But if I think that's a perfect example. If you've got these blind spots and they're learning disabilities, right, you're going to fail certain things, even if you're brilliant. I don't mean I'm brilliant, but even if you're brilliant in these other areas, spatially and all kinds of other ways to measure the brain's intelligence.
Yeah.
So that's the bulk of my research. I watched I couldn't stand to watch a lot of interviews with these idiots.
They're really hard to watch.
They're
like, they are so fucking stupid, and
smarmy,
they are so
I guess would be
fucking smarmy. Yeah, absolutely. Like, so full of themselves with zero reason. Like, they have nothing to offer. No.
And I did watch a wonderful kind of dissection of them. It was by Dr. Todd Grande. He's just a YouTube, he's a licensed professional counselor of mental health. And he has a channel. And I don't know if he's autistic, but his delivery is so deadpan, I didn't understand he was making jokes. And so I went back and I had to write down one of the things he said. He eviscerated him, but he was so calm and collected. You and I get kind of animated in here.
Yeah, a little wound up.
He was so deadpan. I'm like, oh, wait, that was really fucking funny. He says, this is his conclusion of the summation of the Collinses. If Simone and Malcolm Collins are the most effective advocates of the pro-natalist movement, then the high-achieving elites will continue to march towards extinction. He also said, and I didn't write it down, but it was something like, people who are rich and successful often really like themselves and want to make more of themselves with babies. And sometimes they even love themselves and want to make even more babies.
Yeah.
I mean, if that doesn't describe Musk, I don't know what does.
Yeah. I mean, all those fucking guys. So did you get any information on like what they're like up to as far as like, I've heard that they're trying to put together a compound, or they're trying to put together something, and I haven't got like the details on it, but I just remember like that popping up.
I read that they bought 2 homes and they've got caretakers that live in the one home, and they take care of their babies.
Like, they started trying to do like a thing in Texas.
Do you mean like a full size, like a huge compound with a bunch of people?
Or like doing some.
Okay.
I can't remember. I'm sorry. I should have.
That's okay. I couldn't find information on it, but yeah, I found a lot of fluffy pieces on them, like
Yeah.
NBC. This one lady wrote a funny, scathing article for Slate, basically saying, "Boy, does the media love to cover the Collinses." Like,
Yeah.
there's all these NBC News, CBS News. Like, why are these people on television?
Pretty white people, dude.
Yeah.
That's
Well, okay. Take that back. Yeah, they're goony.
they're fucking goons.
Sorry to say that out
No,
loud.
They're fucking goons.
You know, you're basically saying, I'm so great that I need more of me. I'm looking at you going, yeah, the world does not need more of you.
We're good.
I don't know. So did you have anything to say about the Collinses that I didn't cover?
I think you got it. I was like, I'm curious because I know that Thiel is funding them. I know that there is money going to them to promote the pronatalism, but I also think there might be a foundation, or they might be part of like the whole Seastead Corporation.
What's Seastead?
So Seastead is
Something.
I think it's Peter Thiel. It's either Thiel or Sachs that's trying to set up independent countries in international waters.
Okay. What?
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
I said okay as if I knew what you were saying. Independent countries in international waters?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so
rich people would have an island.
Yes.
And what about a military?
I mean, whatever you got, man. They got enough
sure
money
they would-
to
I'm
raise
sure
their
they
own
would have a
fucking military.
military.
I don't think, at least right now, they're talking about using it as an aggressor of any sort. But
Mostly meant to be, let's put the white people in one place.
the elites, yeah, whatever that means to these motherfuckers. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you figure you get 3 billionaires out there, you've got more GDP than most countries.
Interesting.
So, but yeah, the Seastead Corp. I'll have to look into that, and I'll get back to you on that one.
It feels like every science fiction film where they make this idyllic kind of utopia, and people are going to get murdered,
And then it turns into a
and
dystopia.
raped,
Yeah.
and, yeah. I mean, you're elite, so why would that ever happen? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they're so smart.
Jesus. Yeah. So we were talking about Bannon. I mean, I could not knock Bannon's intelligence, despite the fact that I don't like him personally.
Right.
I mean, Bannon is not an idiot. He is, despite being educated, these people are idiots.
Right. No, and I mean, I say the same. Yarvin is a fucking moron.
Yes.
Nick Land, not so much.
Not so much. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these are not serious people, but what they're doing is serious as a fucking heart attack.
Yes.
And that's a problem. I'm wondering, like, what did you come up with anything where they're like their next move? What are they planning? Because they got to have something planned.
I couldn't bear to watch their YouTube channel.
Yeah.
They've got a YouTube channel, and I could have, I guess, watched a few of those. Dude, I watched, I think, 2 hours worth of interviews with them, and that was it.
That's pretty rough.
At a certain point in like the 59th minute of the second hour, I angrily pressed the space bar and said, fuck this. I am
Fuck
done
you.
with these people. Yeah, these motherfuckers. So, yeah, that was, I mean, awful. But, yeah, they're, again, smarmy, like you said.
Yeah.
I mean, just, yuck.
Gross.
And, I think there are a lot of shit libs in Northern California that think, California's better than South Carolina or Kentucky because they've got the racists. Well, no, that's bullshit. There's racists all over California. But I think what's nice about the South is when they're racist. And
Yeah.
I think, I can't speak for black people, but I'd rather know where someone stands just immediately than have it covered in the veneer of politeness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which these people do. They cover up their bullshit Hitler ideology with a veneer of politeness.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the way they speak and the way that they move through the world is a lot like that piece of shit, Mike Johnson. You know what I mean?
I can't remember who Mike Johnson is.
Speaker of the House.
Right. Okay. You're saying he has kind of
He has that
a
same
facade of normalcy?
There's this way of speaking
Yeah.
that Vance, Mike Johnson, all these fucking assholes, and these are two prime examples too, the Collinses.
Yeah.
That they speak in this way that, like, if you come at them, they act offended. You know what I mean?
So they're so polite. Why would you be rude to them?
Yeah. Why? I'm just saying what I think. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is a type of person, right, who has the appearance of being polite, and they're saying horrible fucking
but they're
things.
being pieces of shit. Yeah.
exactly.
And they really like they actually hide it really well. I feel like that's why they get so much airtime on regular news.
That's a good point. Obviously, I mean, you and I, when we were kids, David Duke was a thing.
Oh my God.
David Duke being some kind of congressman from Louisiana, just an out and out KKK member. He was like a grand wizard of the KKK.
Yeah.
These people are completely different in that
Right.
they can appear normal.
Well, and Duke realized that I can get more done as a normal looking guy instead of parading around in the fucking satin robes.
Well, that's how the KKK infiltrated police departments.
Sheriff's
Right? They were like, we need to get
departments,
like
the military.
shave our heads and cover up our tattoos and go to work, and that's how they infiltrated the police departments all over the United States.
He had a bunch of. I listened to this whole podcast that was about David Duke.
Yeah,
and he is not a smart guy.
No.
But he did have the realization, like, we're not gonna get anything done that we want to get done until we normalize and get into office. And so he had a bunch of fucking work done.
You mean on his image or
face?
Oh, okay. Oh, he looks different now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he had a lot of work done between KKK time and running for office.
So he wanted to not just change his clothing; he wanted to change his appearance.
He wanted to change his appearance.
Okay. That's completely normal and not weird at all.
I mean, if you've got a plan to take over the world, the fucking Dr. Evil.
Well, I mean, it was a brilliant plan because it worked.
Yeah.
The KKK's entrenchment into our government institutions is fully formed.
Well, all these people that, like the Collins, they learned that lesson either directly from him or peripherally. They learned that lesson. You get more done by hiding who you are.
Yeah. And what they are is fucking assholes.
We live in hell.
Oh, speaking of Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, Jesus.
Louisville, Kentucky's Hunter S. Thompson, our proud boy Hunter S. Thompson, had a great quote. They're going to wrap this up. And nothing to do with the Collins. I just like this quote.
Yeah, okay.
I'm probably just going to put this on a shirt someday.
Yeah.
I hate to advocate drugs, alcohol, violence, or insanity to anyone, but they've always worked for me. Love Hunter S. Thompson.
Hunter S.
Yeah, he's good. Did you see the movie? The what is it? Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah,
good stuff.
Did you read the book?
I've read a bunch of his books. They're great.
Yeah,
huge fan. He and Ralph Steadman. I told you this. They're supposed to go to a yachting festival. They're covering it for Rolling Stone, or I don't know who they're covering the yachting festival for. But their version of covering the yachting festival was to do a bunch of drugs and spray paint "fuck the Pope" on a giant yacht. God, man.
I have to say, like, one of the first things that got me like really dialed up on politics was Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail. Like that was a great a great book.
He's amazing.
Like that really like sold me on the whole idea of like politics and what can be done with writing and politics.
I had a rough time with reading in high school. Back when we were kids, audiobooks were not a thing.
Yeah.
I feel like my school career might have been completely different if I had audiobooks, because I can consume so much faster via audio than I can by reading.
Yeah.
And Hunter S. Thompson, I had a kind of a loose, let's put this up and down relationship with the great authors in college and mostly high school, because, first of all, we had to read Shakespeare. I don't think Shakespeare was meant to be read. I think it's meant to be heard in a play, because it just makes more sense when you hear the words spoken. But there were these, Melville, where there's these classics, and I couldn't fucking stand them. Oh. Mostly because the anachronistic, kind of writing style. Yeah. But I think I discovered Hunter S. Thompson in high school, and I didn't know you could write like that.
Yeah, right, Gonzo.
But Hunter S. Thompson is fucking crazy and a drug addict, but he was brilliant.
Was he an addict, or did he just do drugs?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, to a stuffy Yale professor, Hunter S. Thompson might be, a pig.
Yeah.
To me, I saw him as an intelligent person who just wrote like a human, rather than someone trying to write poetry.
Yeah.
And I just really related to that.
I related to it.
I just didn't know you could write a book like that.
Yeah.
Because the books I'd read were all kind of, I'm sorry to say, stuffy, the classics, as they say.
Yeah.
So he was an important author to me.
So
certainly.
did you read Catcher in the Rye?
Oh yeah, definitely.
How did that hit you?
Oh no, I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked Salinger. I liked Steinbeck was very relatable, I thought. Mark Twain was relatable. There was a lot of great authors that were certainly relatable to me.
But Melville, dude, I mean, I read a lot. That book bored the fuck out of me. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
I remember one in Moby Dick, there's a page that's one sentence.
Yeah, dude, what the fuck? I should read it again, really.
Sure. I'm sure I would feel about it completely different now than I would back then. But like, I think you and I liked Stephen King when we were younger. You still like him.
Oh, yeah.
I think because Stephen King is smart, but he is a good editor. And like Stephen King is writing very lean. And I feel like,
for sure.
It's
tight.
the way a good director edits a film, or a good editor, that is to say, edits a film. And it's like, I'm not saying, of course, Melville's a great writer, but like, I could not relate to that at 16 years old.
Right.
This fucking sentence is a page long. Dude, edit yourself. Seriously.
You're like dog-earing the middle of the page.
So, all right, man, we did it.
I guess we
Maybe
did.
Kind of did it.
We fucking did something.
Should we toast to bad dads?
Yeah, bad dads and all they teach us.
All right, here's a brown liquor for the bad dads.
Rock on.
See you next week.
You have been listening to The Trivial Man. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can either call us at 415-484-8841 or send us an email at thetriviumpod@gmail.com.